Bom dia, boa tarde, boa noite, or whatever the case may be. My name is Marcus, and I'm the host of the Black Brazil Today YouTube channel, as well as the blackbraziltoday.com blog, where I analyze Brazil from the perspective of race. So today I want to do a reaction to a video of a channel that I found. It's been probably about 2 weeks now. And I found the video be intriguing because the young lady hosts her own channel. But in this particular video, she chose to interview her mother just to make an analysis about how things for Black women are in Brazil today versus the generation that her mother grew up in. And it just strikes me that, in many ways, things haven't changed. The image of the Black woman in Brazil remains the same, even though, I'd say over the last decade and a half, they've made some improvements. A lot of Black Brazilian women, particularly feminists, have been pushing to change the image associated with Black Brazilian women. So today is a good example of what I'm talking about. So as I usually do, I'm going to discuss, react to what this young lady and her mother had to say. I'm going to react to it, and then I'm going to lay the groundwork to show you, like, hey, this isn't anything new. Black Brazil Today has been covering this since maybe about 2011 or so. So with that said, definitely before I get into this reaction, like this video, share this video, consider subscribing to the channel and click on the notification bell. So let's get into the video for today, which I'm calling People Always Mistake Me for a Servant. What my mother hates about being a Black woman in Brazil. So let's get into this video, and then I'm going to react and share my opinion on it. Okay, so today's video, as a lot of videos that I've done in the past, are about racism and stereotypes associated with Black Brazilians in Brazilian society. There's plenty of evidence for this. I mean, there shouldn't be any way that anybody, even outside of Brazil, shouldn't know, how Brazil gets down, how Brazil treats its Black citizens as if they're, I've shown in other videos that in some ways Brazilian society still associates Black people with slavery, and the jokes and the gestures and the comments of bad taste, racist jokes. It shows this in everyday life where people make these type of comments and treat people in a certain way, where the sometimes blatant but sometimes subliminal message is that you're an inferior. And I'm quite sure this is part of what this young lady's mother is talking about. She's talking about what I call the place reserved for Black Brazilians. For years on the blog, that was actually a category that I was using. It's called, the race and place is what I called it, where people in Brazil don't expect to see Black people. They always expect them to be found in the lower rungs of society, where it's in their career, the neighborhood that they live in, kind of car that they might drive. If they have a car, they don't expect Black people to be in the more upper crust areas of society. There's a question of how do you afford to live in this neighborhood? How do you afford to drive a car like that when I don't have this car? So this young lady's mother, I don't know how old she is. She's probably in her 40s, 50s, I don't know, 60s. I'm not sure. But it's two different generations of Black Brazilian women. So what I want to do right now is just go ahead and do a reaction to what this young lady, basically interviewed her mother. So let's check out what her mother had to say in terms of the question, what does she not like about being a Black woman in Brazil? Things my
Coisas que
mother
a
doesn't
minha
like
mãe
about
não
being a
gosta
Black
em ser
woman.
uma mulher negra.
Mom, a while ago, I
Maria, tem
recorded a
como
video
gravar um
here
vídeo aqui
about
sobre
things I
coisas
don't
que eu
like
não
about
gosto
being
em
a
ser
Black
uma mulher
woman, a Black
negra?
woman.
Algumas
Some
coisas que
people
você me
identify with the
explicar e eu
video,
vou
and I
aqui
wonder what it's
pensando
like for
como é para
you who are a
você, que é
Black
uma
woman from a
mulher
different
negra com uma
generation than
geração
me,
diferente da
a
minha,
Black woman that's
uma
darker
mulher
than
negra
me,
mais
if your
antiga do que
annoyances are
eu,
the same as
se os
mine,
seus
or if they're
incômodos são os
different.
mesmos que os meus ou se são
Anyway,
diferentes.
it's worth
Enfim, vale
remembering that
lembrar
this
que
isn't
esse
a
não é
video
um
about
vídeo sobre
self-esteem. We
autoestima.
love being
Nós
Black
amamos
women.
ser mulheres
My
negras,
mother
minha
has been
família
teaching me a
ensina
lot
muito
about
sobre isso, a
this. We're
gente
going
vai
to
gravar um
record a
vídeo
video
sobre isso
about it
também,
too.
mas eu acho extremamente
But I think it's
importante e
extremely
necessário
important and
a gente
necessary for
começar
us
a
to start
conversar
talking
sobre
about what
aquilo que
bothers us.
incomoda. Então eu quero saber para você
So I want to know what you
coisas que
don't
você
like
não
about being a
gosta
Black
dentro da
woman.
sua vivência em ser uma mulher negra.
Well, I
Bom,
don't like
eu não
hearing people
gosto
use the
de
terms
ouvir as
bad hair,
pessoas usando os
hard
termos
hair,
cabelo ruim, cabelo
bombril hair,
duro, cabelo de
because
bombril,
I saw that a lot
porque
in my
isso
childhood
eu
and it
vi
really bothered
muito
me and it
na minha
affected my
infância
self-esteem.
e muito me incomodava e mexeu com a minha autoestima. Então, não é
So it's unacceptable that
admissível
these terms are
que
still
se
used
use
today
esses termos
to refer to
ainda
kinky curly
hoje.
hair,
Você
wavy
seria
hair, in
querendo
short, the
excluir
hair of
modo
Black
de
people,
ver
right?
cabelo das
Exactly.
pessoas
What
negras,
else?
né?
Exatamente.
Que mais?
Eu não
I don't
gosto
like going to
de
markets,
ir a
shopping malls, and being
mercados,
followed
a
around by security
shoppings e ser
guards.
seguida pelos seguranças.
I
Não
especially
gosto,
don't like it when I
principalmente
go into a
quando eu
store that's
entro numa
frequented by
loja que
people
é
with
frequentada por
slightly better
pessoas de
purchasing
um
power,
poder
and the
aquisitivo um
salespeople
pouquinho
simply ignore
melhor
me.
e os vendedores simplesmente me ignoram. Quando eu
When I
chamo para
call to be
ser
tended to, it's even
atendida,
worse when
pior
they tell me the
ainda
price of
é
the
que
product
eles já vêm
right
dizendo
away
logo
without
o
even
valor do
asking or tell me
produto
the maximum
sem eu
number of
nem ter
installment payments
perguntado.
for the
Ou
product can be
dizem
sold.
o número máximo de
When sometimes
prestações que
I
um
even pay
produto
in
pode
cash.
ser vendido,
I don't
sendo
like to
que
see
às vezes
men
eu iria até
feeling like they
pagar à
own
vista.
domestic workers.
Não gosto de ver homens se sentir
I don't like to see
donos de
men feeling like they
empregadas
own domestic
domésticas,
workers
porque
because
eu já
I've been
fui
a domestic
empregada
worker
doméstica e já
and I've
passei por
experienced harassment
assédio,
because
porque os
employers, by paying our
patrões,
salaries,
por
feel
pagarem os
entitled
nossos
to our
salários, se
bodies.
sentem no direito de usar os nossos corpos. Então,
So men
os homens
have to
têm que
take
se
note of this.
ligar nisso.
This can't
Isso
happen under
não
any
pode acontecer
circumstances
de maneira
because
nenhuma,
it's happened with
porque
me and
aconteceu
it's
comigo
painful.
e isso é
I managed to
doloroso.
get out of it,
Consegui me livrar,
but it was
mas
very embarrassing
foi
and difficult,
muito constrangedor
a
e
situation that
difícil,
nobody
situação
deserves to
que
go
ninguém
through.
merece passar.
E a maioria
And the majority of day
das
laborers here in
diaristas
Brazil,
aqui
at
no
least,
Brasil,
are
pelo
black
menos,
women,
são
right?
mulheres negras, né?
Yes,
Sim,
especially in my day.
principalmente na minha época. Na
And in
minha
my day, the
época, o
jobs
trabalho
available
que
to us
tinha
black girls
para
were mostly
nós,
domestic workers or
moças
day
pretas,
laborers.
a maioria éramos empregadas domésticas ou diaristas.
And also,
E
another thing I don't
também,
like
outra coisa que eu
is
não
when
gosto
I'm in
é
my
quando
own
eu estou na
house,
minha
a doorbell
própria
rings,
casa, toca uma
I
campainha,
go out,
eu
and people
saio
simply
e
ask
as
me to
pessoas
call my
simplesmente
boss
pedem para que eu chame a minha patroa,
because they think that a
porque
black woman
acham
like me
que uma
can't
mulher
be the
preta
owner,
como eu não pode ser
can't be the
dona,
lady
não
of the
pode
house,
ser
the
a
owner of
dona
the
da casa,
house.
tem que ser a
She has to be the
serviçal da
servant of
casa.
the house.
Vamos se
Let's
ligar, vamos
connect. Let's
prestar
pay attention.
atenção. Outra
Another
coisa
thing that
que
always
sempre me
bothers me is when I
incomoda
go out
é
and the
quando eu
valet
saio
or the porters
e
are
manobristas
surprised that I'm not
ou
in
os
the cheap car
carregadores
or the
se
old car.
espantam por eu não estar com carrinho popular
So you mean that a
ou
black
com
woman can't
carrinho
have a
velho.
better car?
Então quer
It always
dizer que uma
has to be the
mulher
old car,
preta
the cheap
não
car.
pode ter um carro melhor, tem que ser sempre o carrinho velho, o carrinho popular.
Let's pay attention to
Vamos
that
se
too,
ligar
okay?
nisso também, né?
Yes.
Pois é.
And how is the question
E
like,
como é em
do
questão
you get
assim, te
mistaken with the
confunde com
salesperson?
vendedora, com...
Ah,
Oh, always,
sempre,
always.
sempre. Eu já estive
I've been in a
em
resort,
resort,
in a five-star
em
hotel.
hotel 5
People have
estrelas.
mistaken me
As
for a
pessoas me
servant
confundiram com
because they think that
serviçal,
a black
porque
woman
acham que
couldn't
uma
be
mulher
there as an
preta não
equal.
poderia estar ali de igual para igual e tinha
She
que
had to
ser,
be
estar num
in a
serviço
subordinate service.
subalterno,
She couldn't
não
be as
poderia
much of a
ser tão
guest as
hóspede
they
quanto
are.
eles. É,
What else?
que mais?
Oh,
Em
even in the
lojas
stores.
mesmo. Já
It's
aconteceu de eu
happened that
estar
I've
em
been in
lojas,
stores,
principalmente
especially the
essas
ones I've
que
mentioned,
eu
which are
disse que
frequented by
é
people with
frequentada
higher
por pessoas
purchasing
com
power.
poder aquisitivo melhor,
People have
das
even come up to
pessoas
me, grab my
chegarem até
arm to
segurar no
ask
meu
things
braço para
as if I was the
perguntar
sales
coisas como se eu
assistant,
fosse a
and I
vendedora. Eu
couldn't
não
be there
poderia
buying
estar ali
anything
comprando
also.
nada também.
So it's
Então é
embarrassing. That's
constrangedor.
it.
Enfim,
As my
é
mother
isso,
says,
como
let's
diz
pay
a minha
attention to
mãe,
that
vamos
too,
se
right?
ligar, né, minha gente?
Mother, thank you for being
Mas
here,
obrigada por
for
estar
sharing with
aqui,
us
por
more of your
compartilhar com a
experience as a
gente
black
mais da
woman.
sua vivência enquanto uma mulher
I think these
negra.
issues are very
Acho que esses
important.
assuntos são muito importantes.
Talking about this,
Conversando
that
sobre
we evolve
isso,
as
né?
human beings,
Que a
that we evolve.
gente evoluir enquanto ser humano, né? Que a gente
And that's
evolui.
it. I hope you
E é
come
isso,
back.
espero que você
We're going to record a
volte. A
video
gente vai
also
gravar um
about
vídeo
things that
também
you
sobre
love about
coisas
being
que
a
você
black
ama
woman.
em ser uma mulher negra,
Ótimo,
Great.
que vai ser
That'll be
muito
really
legal.
cool.
com certeza.
Então é isso, obrigada
Absolutely.
e até o próximo vídeo.
Okay, so that was an intriguing interview. You heard what the two generations. Well, actually, the daughter didn't have much to say because obviously the video she was focusing on her mother and her mother's experience. But quite honestly, in all of the things that I've covered on the Black Brazil Today YouTube channel and the blog, it just shows that things really haven't changed that much for the new generation. It's getting better, we have to say. People in Brazil are starting to come to accept the idea like, yeah, there are Black people out there who have college degrees and they have careers. Some Black people in Brazil actually make a lot of money. But as I showed in another video from maybe last year, like white Brazilians have a problem, you know, seeing black people shoulder to shoulder, like on an equal footing as they do. They don't know how to deal with that. And when they find black people in these positions, they tend to look at them as being stuck up or snooty. And it's like, no, you just can't deal with a black person not being subordinate to you. So what are some of the stories that I've talked about in the past that really it gives credence to what the mother in the video had to say? Is the association of black people with bad hair. I've talked about this numerous times. We call, the good hair, bad hair thing in the United States is what they call cabelo bom, cabelo ruim in Brazil. Is that people hair? You have bad hair because you want it. Photo campaign. It was a black university students were denouncing the racist comments that they heard about their hair. You disgusting black with bad hair or bad hair day. These are all articles that are talking about how black people are associated with having bad hair. Okay. It's nothing. I mean, wherever we are in the diaspora, we have this thing about you have kinky curly hair. So it's automatically deemed bad hair because we live according to a European standard of hair, standard of beauty rather. She mentioned Bombril. Numerous articles on the blog talks about this. Bombril is this product right here. It's like, a steel sponge that you use to wash the dishes. So they compare black people's hair to that. It's called Bombril. It's a cleaning product. So this is what the mother was talking about when she said, it's terrible that you compare black people's hair to Bombril. There was an article that I had up here. What did it say? It said Bombril is a scouring pad. Kinky curly hair is something else. Bombril campaign is suspended for racist content. Ad caused outrage amongst black Brazilian women who repudiated the association of the scouring pad with black women's hair. All right. 12-year-old girl trampled on called the M word with scouring pad hair. So the association with black women, kinky curly hair with a cleaning product. Again, Bombril is a scouring pad. Kinky curly hair is something else. Black women have been calling out this association for a number of years, say, no, my hair is not steel wool. It is my identity, my reference. We repudiate. This was a program, the Raul Gil program, and Bombril for the artwork in the program, Mulheres que Brilha, women that shine. Bombril has to stop comparing black women's hair to steel wool. My hair is my appreciation of my African ancestry recreated in Brazil. For the appreciation and respect of black Brazilian women. That was a campaign from a number of years ago. Then we talk about what she said, being followed around stores and shopping malls by security. Your presence threatens security. Followed and harassed by security, young blacks organized protests against racism in the mall. Establishment, as always, denies the accusation. Brazilian society continues to ostracize natural black hair. Woman followed around by store security simply because of her hair. This was a brutal attack on the black man, either the day before or the day after the Day of Black Consciousness in 2021, I think. Might have been 2020, because this was a reaction what the store was doing in order to gloss over what they did, because these 2 or 3 security guards basically killed a black man. Again, the idea that if a black person is here, they must be here to steal something, right? So being followed, this is the story actually right here. They put their knees on this guy's back for 4 minutes and he ended up dying. So black people and security, shopping malls and stores it has a long history of that. This is what led to a protest. People set fire to a couple of stores and protests. So this is what the mother was talking about. Then she talked about how people immediately come, the salespeople will come and just offer her the possibility of putting a product on an installment plan, because the assumption is that you can't afford the full price, but we'll let you put it on an installment plan if you only pay, you have maybe 5 or 10 payments to be able to pay it off, to be able to take the product home. Actress Erika Januza actually talked about this. Is this crazy? Salesperson looked at her and say, did you see the price of this? Are you sure you want to take this up to the cash register because you're black? Obviously you can't afford this. And then talked about being treated as how owners, or let's say the boss in a house, if they have a domestic, a maid in the house, the humiliations that women go through, particularly there's black and brown women who are the majority of the maids in Brazil. And the rapper Preta Hada released a book just on the work experiences of hundreds of maids and just how they're disrespected, The bosses of the house will switch up the silverware so that the maid can't eat with it. They'll make sure the maid can't use the same bathroom. You've got men who feel they have the authority to be able to make passes at the maid because they're paying their salary. So this was something that she wrote about some years ago in a book. She collected all of these stories in a Facebook campaign, and the stories they just kept coming in. So she released it as a book. This is what she's saying is really common in Brazil for a Black woman to open the door at a nice home, and people automatically assume that she must be the maid of the house rather than the house owner. So this was a skit that was done some years ago where people made, poke fun at this. They did a parody saying, white girl knocks on the door and says, "May I speak to the lady of the house?" Video satirizes Brazil's belief that a Black woman in a middle-class home must be the maid or the cleaning lady. This is what this comic is about. I wanted to speak to the owner of the house. The Black woman says, "You can speak." He says, "I know that he must trust in you a lot, but I really would like to speak to him personally." Like, Black woman opens the door. She can only be the maid. That's what that's saying there. And that's what the mother spoke about. She's experienced that. The idea that if you're driving a nice car, driving while Black, university student aggressively arrested by military police as a suspect of stealing his own car. What else do we have here? Shopping while Black. 8 Black women explain the precautions they take when they're out shopping. Just because of the situation of them being Black, you can't wear flip-flops. You have to be well groomed. People automatically assume because of because of your race, you don't belong there, particularly if it's a higher echelon of store. I wear basic clothes so that I don't draw any unnecessary attention. I do not open my purse inside the store for obvious reasons. I leave items that I will buy very noticeable. I don't go with the hood or even with my hands in my pocket. These are just some of the precautions that Black women take just because of being Black and how security treats them as immediate suspects. I'll almost never go in just to look. It's a shame you have to take precautions when you go into a store because you already know how security is going to be looking at you, right? A BMW, a Black man, a white man, both lock their keys in the car and try to pry the door open. Is there a difference in how they are perceived by onlookers? So this was a test. It was a little experiment that these two guys did. They showed, it's a video. I'm not sure if the video is still up. They show a Black man, locked his keys in his BMW in the car, and he's trying to open the car through, various methods to try to get into the car. White man does the same thing. Now, while the white man is doing this, people just pass by like, "Hey, buddy, do you need some help with something?" Black man does it, and bystanders assume he's still in his car and wrestle him down to the ground, and he's trying to steal his own car. That's what's going on here. Thiago Fonseca and Leonardo Medina recorded a staged event to see if there were differences between how people react to the same situation. One with a white man, the other with a Black man. So like I say it here, the white man's attempting to open his car, sticking something through the windshield. Nobody bothers him, actually comes by to try to help him get it done. Black man does the same thing. Yo, dude, what are you doing here? What happened? And so he's explaining, this is my car. I locked my key in the car. I'm trying to, pry the door open. They take him down to the ground, wrestle him down to the ground and call the police for, trying to get in his own car, wrestle him down to the police, to the ground until the police come. Military police arrive, handcuff Fonseca, and continue interrogating him in regards to the ownership of the car. They ended up actually taking him down to the police station. So these are things that happen to Black Brazilians all the time because of the association between white skin and Black skin. So she's not tripping on what she's saying. The association of Black people with slavery. Now, slavery officially the institutionalized slavery ended in 1888 on May 13th. But today in Brazil, you still have situations where predominantly Black people and a lot of times Black women are held in conditions analogous to slavery. This happens every year. Hundreds, if not thousands of people are often rescued. Here's an 89-year-old Black woman subjected to slavery in the city of Santos for 50 years. Here's another woman living in conditions similar to slavery for 38 years. She was released by authorities. This goes on and on. This is what I'm saying. Today, the association continues with Black people and slavery. So this is why I wanted to talk about this woman's her ideas of how she's treated for being Black and a woman in Brazil. So I think other people are in other countries where there's this Black-white we'll say the the groups in society where you got black and you got white, and how people associate images depending on what somebody's skin color is. It's still true in Brazil today, but I imagine it was probably worse for her generation, as you know, it's something that I've talked about in numerous books. But I'm sure a lot of people can relate to this. So what did you all think about this video today? Definitely like this video, share this video, drop a comment in the comment section. I always like to check the comments. Subscribe to this channel and consider clicking on the notification bell so that you know when I put up new videos. With that said, I'm going to end the video here and request that you all come back. Check out the next video that I post here at Black Brazil Today.